When the enemy Blitzcrank does this, you know you're in a game for the ages. AP Shaco into 4 close-range enemies, this game was going to be free. With Ezreal already checking in on my mental health, I was excited to fight by the side of not just Cristiano Ronaldo, but also Yone. I was terrified of getting level 1 invaded by the scariest level 1 team known to man, so warded this brush. I don't know why, but I felt like starting Raptors, so I did. As my 2 boxes damaged Raptors, I damaged red buff, and then noticed some suspicious activity. The enemy Sylas was waddling to mid lane from the enemy's bot side jungle. Sylas had clearly warded somewhere bot side, a sign of a true cuck. Encouraged by the beta male on the enemy side of the mid lane, I auto and smite the big raptor as it greets me at red buff. As I finish red buff, look at the enemy raptors. They are missing. What could this mean? Nocturne had started there. I finished red buff to notice bot lane already sparring and winning, so I decide to capitalize by invading Nocturne's bot camps. I start Nocturne's Gromp as Yone buys a control ward. Suddenly Nocturne appeared on the minimap, walking past his raptors to invade my top side. I thought about recalling and defending my top camps, but AP Shaco has less chance of winning a 1v1 with no box setup as I do of making it through a game in Master career without seeing an FF vote. This game would definitely be different. So I stay in Nocturne's jungle. After Gromp I start blue buff and then saw something that made me shiver. My Ezreal was backing, 75% HP and enough mana to poke the Syndra out of lane to create a gold advantage. Winning lane was clearly something How Are You was not fond of. Despite having 2 supports in the bot lane, the enemy Sylas had no flash, so I queued towards first blood. Having Yone by my side was comforting as I secured the bot crab. As I tried to come to terms with reality that no teammate had died yet,
Jesus Christ.
I refarm my raptors, and as I queued at Krugs, I see this in the bot lane. Ezreal trying to win lane. Surprised by my AD carry wanting to now score a goal, I farm Krugs and then lane ganked. But what ensued cannot be explained, it can only be shown.
I have crippling depression.
Upon recalling, my muscle memory took over and had me deciding on which offense I should report Ezreal for. Looking back, this was an appropriate time to ask Ezreal how he was doing, but I missed that opportunity. But one opportunity I did not miss was killing the enemy Sylas again. Despite being ahead in kills, this scoreboard was inauspicious. My top laner was clearly trying to miss CS. Mid lane was even in CS despite Sylas not being able to play the game for 20 seconds, and this. I run off towards topside to bait the Nocturne into starting Dragon or invading my Raptors, so I pivot back to bot side and box Raptors to make sure Nocturne was not waiting for their respawn, and there he was in the river. I queued towards Yone's side as we took down the enemy jungler, piloting one of the most difficult champions in the game. If you also want to play Shaco like this, then good news. I'm uploading at least 2 videos a week for channel members. These will be Shaco tech guides on clears, builds, mechanics, everything, so join my demonic Shaco Academy. Back to my test of character. Dragon is troll here because Yone needs to recall and my supports are near me, so I farm Raptors, and then transition to the top crab. Nocturne can never take my red buff nor Krugs with our bot side vision, so why would I give him the top crab? After farming crab and Gromp, the impossible became the possible. Syndra died in a genuine 2v2, and thankfully for us, Galio took both kills. I farmed red buff and Krugs to then recall for grubs, but all good things must come to an end. A fight broke out in the mid lane and Yone decided to do this with a level 6 Nocturne on the enemy team. Galio died as well. This was a bit more like it. I look mid and know the enemy Sylas will greedily recall on 1 HP, so I craft a route to the mid lane. I ignite and E the Sylas, but I should push my clone away from myself to bait the no self-respect Nocturne player. Maybe I was still thinking about what Yone just did. After a perfect early game, I now felt behind the enemy jungler who had played so well. Yone redeemed himself, however, and took the grubs the Nocturne kindly leashed for him. I farmed blue buff and Gromp to then hear this. Knowing I was losing Dragon and potentially my bot camps and my brain, I moved towards the 10 CS per minute Gragas. I wait for Fiora to queue in, but I queue just inside her vision. Thankfully, she does not flash away instantly, and we secure a much needed 320 gold. I recall immediately to defend my bot camps with my Blackfire Torch Spike, but Nocturne was not here nor on Dragon. He must be from NA. Despite my best efforts on 560 ping, Nocturne secured the bot crab and escaped. Because we had no idea where Nocturne was, Ezreal then died seconds later. I was then debating if I should tell Ezreal to start building Locket of the Iron Solarium Redemption. As I secure the Dragon, knowing the enemies are on a reset and Nocturne has no ultimate. I then farm my camps, and have a feeling my Galio will E into the river where his mid laner and jungler are not and die. So I get ready to gank Fiora again. I ignite after she Ws and box her likely escape. We get the kill, but paranoia consumes the rift. The high skill ceiling Nocturne flies in, killing Gragas as I push my clone away this time. As I place this box, I should bring the clone back towards me, but thankfully Nocturne runs into the box anyway. Had I have known this, I would have killed this creature, but he escapes. I recall and run out bot side just in time to see Yone, fighting without anyone by his side, die to Sylas. So much for killing Sylas twice in the early game. I then try to match my mid laner's throw the game energy by queuing onto a wave, knowing I can get collapsed on, but I knew that Captain Hook would target the minion and not the suffering Shaco player. I then farm my bot camps and anticipate Nocturne ganking mid lane, so box behind my Yone. With Yone's pressure, I invade Nocturne's Raptors, and the Nemesis Inferno appears. I box the corner of this brush to cover as much ground as possible and bait the Nocturne by queuing in. He will think I wasted Q, but I have one of my supports with me. I have no idea why this Gragas did this, and then use this. But we pick up the kill, to then take Rift Herald. Nocturne, if you are watching this, then I can save you. I'm launching an interactive league dojo that will teach and test you on how to play micro and macro like a challenger. Join the waitlist, the link is below. But what's next for Shaco? Well, look at the dragon timer. Close to 30 seconds, so I have time to take blue buff and then recall ready to end the game. But one of our supports commits treason. Despite knowing we want to play for dragon, he recalls. I should have bought, but when one player soft ints, Shaco takes over. I should box away from the fight because AoE is the real enemy, and we lose. At least Ezreal can now farm the mid wave safely. Disappointed to see Ezreal buying damage items, I skip Krugs to counter Nocturne doing Dragon. I finish Raptors and get ready to invade Nocturne's topside, but Gragas dies and Fiora is full HP. Did he just stand still? At least he had the mechanical capability to ping Fiora's flash. We kill Fiora and I recall, knowing Nocturne might army if I show on vision. What happens next is the final straw for Shaco. We see Sylas running at the Ezreal, and with the help of the other support and myself, we can win this. As I take the Hextech gate, my Galio decides to run away from Ezreal, as Ezreal fails to evade Sylas' engage with 15 dashes. Sylas was basically full HP, so I joined Ezreal in base moments later. My tilt was inconspicuous, however, so not all hope was lost. Gragas then decided to trade 1-for-1 with the enemy's support. As I farm my bot camps out of base, a fight eventually transpired in the mid lane. I killed the Blitzcrank, but without R and box setup, I am as useful as an Ezreal trying to be an AD carry. So I take a detour, clicking towards the vacant top lane. I get a juicy cannon wave and drop Rift Herald, forcing Fiora to use TP. I recall as the Korean solo queue tradition of FFing because you have a shaco on your team continued. I click no thinking it was yes and run out of base only to tilt even harder. Nocturne had a 500 gold bounty. On the bright side, my Yone did shut down the Syndra, a worthy trade. Baron was now the number 1, so I farmed blue and Gromp and then set up boxes around the enlarged worm. But Syndra drew my attention. I queued in, and after seeing her waste E, I was beaming with optimism. Despite Gragas' inability to press Q twice, he landed a reputation-saving ultimate. This led to Syndra's demise as well as Blitzcrank's. This now meant Dragon was free, but these players cannot stop. Galio kept fighting as Gragas E'd into the depths of hell. But we did end up winning the skirmish. I made sure Ezreal acquired no kills as we then secured the dragon. Because I am right next to my bot camps, I quickly Krugs and then Raptors before recalling to prepare myself for Baron and for the future, mentally. But when your teammates think Summoner's Rift is howling abyss, you join the party. I set up boxes in the mid lane and Fiora engaged on me. Gragas and Galio, 2 champions with enough CC to lock down the slipperiest of specimens, decided to not use their spells, and despite dodging Blitzcrank's hook, I die. The end was nigh, not for my mental but for the ending of this game. But the enemies could not end and I caught Fiora out in our jungle. This meant we could then do Baron. Lots of Shaco players might recall here, but for AP Shaco it's not worth. If you are low HP, then your clone is low HP, and the quicker it will go boom. I set up boxes in the river which led to this.
I think he's in the bed. Oh, Faker maybe in trouble here. Deathmark tries to clean it up for Ryu. Oh, look at the clip!
My Gragas used R after Yone died and Ezreal threw out 2 Qs. Upon gazing at the scoreboard, I was struggling to figure out why this game was so difficult. Something my teammates could not be bothered working out as they just wanted to get out. Another box with 4 right angles appeared and Yone took his talents to the chat. Some symbols spawned in the text box, but our savior was about to save. Ezreal ran out of base and dealt some insane damage before Yone decorated my screen with more local dialect. Post-game, I added the Ezreal and asked how he was doing, to which he responded with a deletion off his friends list. His first good play in the last 30 minutes. Like the video, follow the page, donbishi.com.